Hello, welcome to the Crafty Chemist. Today we are going to be making these fun shutter cards. If you want to craft along, just grab some paper and a stamp set, and I'll show you how to cut everything. Hi, Julie. How are you doing? You have your paper all cut? If you're on, stop by and say hi. If you're watching the replay, say hi. Looks like it's you and I right now, Julie. What papers did you pick? Every little thing? This one? I think this one's so pretty. That's why I made it as my sample. I added a couple bling to my butterflies. Hi, Mom. Thanks for joining. Hi, Jeannie. How are you today? You just pick some stuff from your stash. That's good. It's a good way to use up what you have. Hi, Dee. I've been just doing some kind of chores today. Changed the sheets, vacuumed, went to the grocery store. I also figured out how to use my new robot mopping thing. I'm gonna try that after the live, but I've got it all set up to go. I just had to wait for the batteries to charge. You don't have much left from the every little thing. Yeah. You got the card making kit, right? Yeah, because I bought the bulk paper and then I bought the Wisteria paper to go with it. I was planning on sending my consultant thank you, cards with this. But that was before I realized that I was going to have like a million sample cards that I could use too. Although the good thing about these cards is really you don't need a lot of the pattern paper to make this. So you could kind of do this with your scraps. I did not have a lot of the Sweet Safari, which is what I'm going to feature today. I didn't have a lot of it, but I was able to make these two, and then I have the stuff cut for the next one. So that was kind of just out of scraps. Okay, while we're waiting for a couple more people, I just wanted to mention a few more specials that we have, because a few of the specials are going to end at the end of this month. So like this is the last week to get some of the specials, and then a brand new catalog starts in March. So if there's some things you wanted from the January, February catalog, now is kind of the time to start thinking about it. But the first special I wanted to talk about was the In This Together special, and it comes in a variety of bundles. There is a big bundle that has the paper pack, the coordinated cardstock, it has the stamp set, and the gems. And what the In This Together set is basically so you can write down your memories from these past few months during the lockdown, during the pandemic, and just, you know, remember this time because it is a historic time. So you want to capture that, the good, the bad, and the ugly about it. There's an album workshop kit, and I am going to purchase this and make this, so I will show you what the pages are. But if you look at the page, the In This Together page on my website, which is listed, you know, right here, you can get a close-up of all of the pages. So this is the album workshop kit. You can make, doesn't say how many pages, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11 2-page spreads, and then the front and the back, so 13 pages. There's also a scrapbook kit. So if you don't want to do a whole album on it, you can just do these 3-page layouts. Okay, so there is this workshop kit. And then it looks like you can also make these 4 cards, which are really cute. It says virtual hugs and miss your face, social distance champion, and I am smiling with the mask. So it's really cute. These are really cute. But you can just buy the stamp set, and then you can just buy the paper pack and sticker sheet if you want to do your own thing, and then the coordinating cardstock. This is a really fun color scheme. It's like grape, sapphire, lagoon, clover, lemonade, and white daisy. So really fun and bright colors. So that's the In This Together kit. The next thing special I wanted to talk about is, this is for VIPs only. So if you haven't signed up to be a VIP yet, you really need to do it, because there's really no downside about being a VIP. It's all upside. It costs $35 to be a VIP, and you get back $15 instantly in Close to My Heart cash that you can spend on something. So really it only costs you $20, but you get 15% back with all of your purchases. So after only $133 for the year, you're making money after that. And you also get a free stamp of the month if you spend $50. So you get that free stamp of the month. Maybe you're spending the $5 to buy the stamp of the month every month already. So that's just an added bonus. But one of the perks of being a VIP is, besides all that, which is great, they're having this special workshop just for VIPs. The virtual event is going to be February 25th. There's a special Facebook group just for VIPs who have purchased this kit. You can purchase the kit up to March 31st, but the event is February 25th. Yeah, that TV is so cute. And I like the couch too. But the VIP kit is, you make these 3 2-page layouts, so six scrapbook pages, and then you make these cards down here. Okay, so this is February 25th for VIPs. If you want to learn more about being a VIP, you can just go to my website, thecraftychemist.closetomyheart.com, and there is a tab that says VIP, and you can learn more about that. This special is ending February 28th, so you have like 1 week left to get this. This is the Hello World kit, and it's these milestone, and these are wood cutouts. And if you can see these wood cutouts, it says, 1, 2, 3. It has all of the months, so you can do these really cute photos of your baby every month. Everybody takes pictures of their baby every month for the first 12 months, and these little wood discs you can put right in your picture, so it's really, really cute. But you can also make a scrapbook page from them too. And there's also a Cricut cut that goes down, that comes with it, so you can cut these out and put it on a scrapbook page like they did here. And you can also put the paper behind the wood cutouts, because these are open, and you put the paper behind it to make cute designs. Okay, so I wanted to remind you about this because this is the last week to get it. And then also the last week to get the perfect match. I know Valentine's Day is over, but the paper is still mostly, usable. It doesn't say Valentine's Day on anything. And so your last chance to get this paper, which is my favorite, everybody knows, that's my favorite, the Black Flowers. So February 28th is the last day for that. And these little heart shapes are really cute for shakers and everything. And then there's a new special called Pocket Card Perfection, and these are pocket cards. So they are 4x6 and 3x4 cards that you can use for scrapbooking or pocket scrapbooking, or you can make cards out of them. And I purchased this, so I'm going to make a card collection out of these for everybody to demo. Okay, but what it does is this set goes with the lovely paper pack that's in the core catalog, and this set goes with the Party Time paper pack in the catalog. And these are only $6.50. You get 24 cards, so really an inexpensive way to make cards, decorate your scrapbooks. You can get the whole bundle for just $10.95. So that's what I did. Is I got the bundle. Okay, and the very last special I wanted to remind you of is, this is brand new. It is called Pages for All Ages, but what they did is they brought back 2 old collections, and these are cut above layout kits. So it has all of the materials that you need, all of the decorations, all of the paper, everything you need. And you just punch out some of these things and you can make these 4 layouts. And this one is the Every Little Thing cut above. And we were talking about Every Little Thing before. This is the paper, this card that I made is from the Every Little Thing paper pack. So it's the same sort of color scheme as this. So I know people love that. And then the other kit that you can buy is, it's Hawthorne. So this was a favorite to people in the past. So very, very cute. Or you could buy the bundle which has both. So this one has the 4 scrapbook pages too. Okay, so I think we're ready to go. I just wanted to remind you about those because some of those things are coming to an end very, very soon. Just want to mention again my Facebook page is Crafty Chemist Designs, and I'm going live from that page right now. I have a Facebook group, The Crafty Chemist Presents Close to My Heart, and that's where it's a private group. We share our ideas, share our pictures, share what we make. And then sometimes I blog on my blog called periodicallycrafty.blogspot.com. And I'm working on one for the new collections that are coming out in the March-April catalog right now. If you want to purchase anything that you see, you can just go to thecraftychemist.closetomyheart.com. Okay, so let's get to what we're supposed to be doing today is making these shutter cards. And these cards are so great. They're so fun. I saw this demoed in the Close to My Heart Consultants Facebook group. A consultant named Lisa Stentz I made a video on how we can do these, and then she also gave us a Cricut Design Space file, so I did post that for you. And I'll post it here, drop the link in the comments. You don't need the Cricut file to make these. It just makes things a little bit easier if you like Cricut and if you use it a lot. But it's very easy. You don't need the files at all. I will show you how to make it without the files. I also would like to thank the consultant Allison Bunt. She made a similar card using the Sweet Safari, and I had been looking for an idea on how to demo Sweet Safari, and since both of those were posted very close together, I thought this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you how to do the shutter cards because they are so amazing. And I showed what these shutter cards are. When you open it up, it's like a shutter of a camera, and these pieces move. And so it looks very amazing, but it's really very easy. So I've made 2 demos for you using the Sweet Safari paper. And the Sweet Safari paper is the collection of the month. And I will just show you a few of the papers. This paper is, one side is plaid, the other side is the polka dot. There is a paper that one side is the clouds, and the other side has animals, and it says things like peekaboo, first year, little one. So it's baby themed. This set is geared to be baby themed, but it doesn't have to be. And then the last paper, which I kind of used it all, but here I have a page that I used the paper on, is this fur, it's got like the tropical jungle theme behind it, so it's really cute. Okay, so I'm going to feature this. It does come with, you can get, there's 2 stamp sets that one has animals, the other one has a little bit more baby sentiments in it. And there's the card making kit. And Vicki, if Vicki's on, she just made the cards yesterday, so she may have posted some in the group so you can see what those look like. And then there is the scrapbooking kit also. So let's get started with how to make this. And this is the one that we're going to make. This one right here. Like I said, it looks really complicated, but it is not. And this one, I did the little Wild About You inside. Okay? So let's get started. The first thing you need is the card base. Now these do not use the regular card base that you purchase in bulk, the white card bases. This is a piece of cardstock. So I recommend using a solid piece, but you don't have to. You can use a pattern piece if you wanted to. But the solid piece needs to be 5.5 by 8.5. Okay, so cut a piece that's 5.5 by 8.5. If you use the Cricut file, it also scored it for you. So it scored it for you and it cut it. If you have that ability to do that on your Cricut. Okay, so I didn't score this yet, and I will tell you, I have marked this several times. Like I've made, I think, 4 of these shutter cards. I have marked it where it should theoretically be, right? Because this is 8.5, so this is 4.25 here, and these are 4.25. So each side should be 2 1/8. I have marked 2 1/8. I scored 2 1/8, and when I put them together, it does not meet in the middle. Okay, which bothers me. So you can try and score it at 2 1/8 on each side, but I did not have success doing that. So what I recommend doing is I marked the center point with a pencil. Okay, so I marked 4.25. At the very top, because you are going to cover it with a piece of paper, so it doesn't matter. So 4.25. I marked that. Let's make sure it's on both sides. Oh, there you go. So it's a little bit. Four and a quarter there. It's not quite 4 1/4. I'm gonna mark it just a little bit. Okay. And so then what I did is I just folded the two sides into the center so that it met. Okay. You can do how you prefer, but this is what I did. So you can see I'm just bringing this up to the center, and then I folded it along that line. And then you can take your bone folder and just get a kind of a nice crisp line there. And then what I did is I took this other side and brought it in to meet it. So to me, that was better. Like I said, I tried 4 different times and it just didn't work for me. But if you did the score, if you did the Cricut and it works, kind of let me know. Okay. Is everybody following along? Say hi if you're on, because it's a little bit quiet. Or maybe you're all just working hard. I know Michelle was cutting her paper, but I don't see her. I didn't see her hopping on. Michelle, if you're on, say hi. Okay, now we're going to make these front panels, these 2 front panels here. The decorative pieces. So take 2 decorative pieces or find some paper that you like, and you're going to cut them 2 wide. So 2 inches this way and 5 1/4 long. So 5 1/4 long. Okay, so you need 2 of these, 5 1/4. And I already have these cut. And I'm going to put it the same way, like this, and put these on here. Okay, so you need 2 of them, obviously, for front and back. This side is cute too, but I put this one on the inside, so. And you're just going to tape it on the front. And then I just center it the best that you can. Okay, let's do this side. This paper is really pretty, this plaid paper. But I like the polka dot paper because it kind of has a Disney feel to me, so. That's why I wanted that to be the front. Okay. And now let's make the inside pieces, the piece that's going to go on the inside. We're not going to attach it quite yet, but if you can see, I'm gonna, this yellow piece here and this plaid piece. And I'm going to layer them on top of each other, okay? Don't cut this out yet, unless you had the Cricut cut that already cuts the pieces out perfectly for you. You cut this out after you put them together so that you have the clean edge there. So those sizes are 3 by 5 1/2, okay? So 3 inches wide by 5 1/2. So this goes from the top to the bottom, of your card, okay? And then the pattern piece is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so it's just a 1/4 inch. It's a 1/4 inch smaller. This is the pattern piece. Okay, so here's my 2 pieces. I'm going to use this one and then this one on top. Okay, So this one is 3 inches by 5.5. And hi Kim, welcome. 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. Okay. And then just attach them together. And then you just put this on top. Kind of make the edges even, about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Okay, now this, if you're using the Cricut cut, I made this one out of the Cricut because I wanted to test how it worked. And it cuts out the circle for you. Okay, so you just have to line these up so that the circle is, you know, even. Okay, the edges are even. I wanted to be able, you to be able to make it even if you didn't have a Cricut. So what I did was, I don't have circle dies. I have the square dies, the stitched squares. And so I use the smallest one to cut this out. Okay, so I cut it out with this. So if you have a circle cutter, you can use a circle cutter. If you have the stitch circle dies, you can use that. Or if you cut yours out with the Cricut, it's already cut for you. Okay, and this is from the top of here to the top of the cut, it's 1.5 inches. So put it 1.5 inches down is what I did. Put it 1.5 inches down. Okay. But whatever you decide to do it, you want to kind of remember, because you're going to have to put your sentiment underneath it. So I'm going to bring in my Sizzix real quick. And just do a fast cut. Okay, I am going to tape it down. So again, you can use a circle. I don't have the circle die, so I'm going to use the square. And I'm going to mark it, you know, make it 1.5 inches down from the top, from the very top of the yellow. Okay, and then kind of eyeball it so it's in the center, you know, centered from side to side. I'm using this new purple tape, which I'm not a super fan of yet. Does that look even? Okay. It doesn't stick well, so then I push down, but then when you push down, it causes your paper to tear. So be careful when you take that off. And so you cut through both parts at the same time. Okay, and you actually get this really cute square that you can use for, you know, something else. You can see I have a few that I cut from my samples, right? So I just put them in here so I have them. Now I'm going to take this tape off and hope that it doesn't rip. So I'm going to do it gently. Another thing about this purple tape is you can't use it a second time. At least I haven't been able to. Which the old purple tape, you know, you could use a few times, so. Okay, let me get this out of the way. So the stitch circle, the largest die works perfectly. Okay, that's good to know. So if you do have the stitch circle, Julie says the largest die. And this is about, this one is 2 1/8 by 2 1/8. The circle, if you wanted to do a circle, if you're trying to figure out something to use, it's 2 1/4. That's why I figured it was a good option, you know, secondary option. For my pokey tool, but I don't see it just off the top of my head. But don't forget to take this piece off. I don't know if I'll be able to, but yeah, I can get it off without my pokey tool. Okay, and so you have these stitch circle or stitch squares too. Okay, I'll put this back in here. And now don't glue this down yet because you need to put your sentiment down. But you kind of want to figure out where you're going to put that. And then you need a piece of white paper to put under it for your sentiment. So you see here, I have Wild About You under here. Okay, this piece, the white piece, this white piece is 2 3/4 by 3 inches. So 2 3/4 by 3 inches, okay? And I just use a white. You don't have to use a white, but you know, I'm doing a sentiment, so you want something light. You can use like maybe a light yellow or something, but you wouldn't want something very dark. So I'm going to use the same sentiment that I did before, and I used this stamp set, Animated Safari Animals, because I like the sentiment, Wild About You. Okay, there's something, Love You, Something Fierce. I thought about that one too, but I thought the Wild About You was the best. And it fits nice. So you need a sentiment that's going to fit in there pretty nice. Like this, My Beautiful Friend, worked a little bit, but it's probably the biggest I would do, and that's 1 3/4 wide. But I'm not going to stamp it quite yet because I want to make sure where I place my shutters, you're going to be able to see it. Okay. If you don't want to stamp this once the shutters are in there, you can stamp it right now in the center. If you trust yourself, I would do it afterwards, which is what I'm going to do. Okay, but I'm going to glue this down, and you want it to be covered up, right? So you want it to, if you remember, the hole was, the top of it was 1.5 inches down. So you want to make sure that you've got it at least, 1.5 covered up. Okay, so I'm going to put it about there. I'm just going to tape this down. Okay, again, I'm going to measure 1.5. So I'm going to put this about 1 inch up on the one, about 1 inch, and then center it. Okay, so like I said, this is about, the top of this to here is about 1 inch, because the hole should be totally covered. See? You don't see the white at all. Okay, now you can now we're going to put this on, but it is popped up. Okay, I don't know if you can see, but you need to pop it up a little bit because you need the shutters to have some room to slide. Okay, so we're going to pop this up on foam tape. And it doesn't have to be super thick. I'm very low on this, so we'll see. I'm going to put one at the top. And one at the bottom. And then I also put one part way in. but you want to be careful because you want to make sure you leave enough sliding room for your shutters. Okay, so here's your shutters. Well, so let's talk about those. These are 3.5 by 3.5. Okay, and you need to cut 2 of these shutters. So here's my shutters. I cut them the same color as my paper. And that is because I kind of want it to blend in. You know, when it's the same color, you don't really notice that it's there. So I use the same color. You don't have to. But so when you put your second piece of tape down, you want to make sure that you're leaving room. You're leaving room for that. You don't have to put it right up against. It's not sliding up and down against this. But because it's actually glued down to the page, so you don't need to do that. Okay, so let's put this down. Hi Diana, thanks for joining. Hi Vicky, thanks for joining. Did you have a hard time getting on? Or were you just busy? Okay, so I'm going to put these down, and again, when you're doing it, you want to match up the top and the bottom and make sure that you're covering up your white piece. Okay, we're almost there. Then all we have to do is decorate it, but we need to do these. Okay, so let's talk about these. If you use the Cricut cut, these cut out the proper shape because you need to have them be angled. Obviously, you need it to be angled so that it opens up. Okay, so how you do that, this is the piece, the 3.5 by 3.5, and what you do is I measured a 1/2 inch in from both sides and I marked them. So let's do that on this one. So I took a 1/2 inch and I marked it. And then I took a 1/2 inch and I marked it. Okay. And then at the very center, which would be 1 3/4. So here's 1 3/4, 1 3/4. I'm doing this on the side that I don't want, that's not going to be showing. Oh, I should have probably done it on this side. Let's see which side is. Yeah, I'm going to turn it over and do it on this side because it doesn't matter because the color difference is very, very slight, but now that I thought about it. Okay, so again, let's look at this. At 1 3/4, so it's 1 3/4. I'm going to draw a line. You don't have to draw the whole line because you're only concerned about one spot. And then at 1.5 inches up, I'm going to put a dot there. Okay, I'm going to measure 1.5 inches up. So that will be right here. Okay, and so now I'm just going to connect these dots, this dot to this dot and that to that, to make this, cut out piece. It's not directly from, it's not corner to corner. There's still this little bit here. Okay, it's a 1/2 inch. So I'll draw it so you can see. And this is why you want to do it on the back side. Okay, and then I'm just going to cut. I'm just going to cut that. You can use your cutter if you want to. I use my cutter for a couple, and then I decided I like it better when I hand cut it. And the reason is I don't know if you can tell on one of these, but you know how it's hard to get it to like meet up exactly? Yeah, you can't really see. I mean, it doesn't really matter because like you can't even see on this, but it bothered me enough that I just hand cut it. But you can use your cutter. And let's do the same thing on this other one. So let's do it again. Measure in a 1/2 inch here. And I'm just using this to measure 1/2 inch. And then at 1 3/4, I'm going to draw this line and then measure 1.5 inches up. Now, for me, the scientist, those measurements, I don't mind doing this. Some people think this is a little bit too fussy, so that's why I gave you the Cricut file, in case you just wanted to have it cut. Okay. So now you have your 2 pieces, so they should look a little bit like that. Oh wow, Vicki, you got caught in traffic? Were you at the animal shelter today? Now this part, what you need to do is we're making this, and you can see that this piece is adhered to the flip side. That's what makes it pull out. When you open it up, this pulls out. And so this is about 1/2 inch. You need a 1/2 inch of a lip so that you can glue it onto the paper. So I'm going to score mine, and I will use my scoring thing here. I'm going to take out my cutter and put in my scoring blade. Okay, and then I'm going to just score it at 1/2 inch. Okay, and then do the same thing. So you want it on 1/2 inch on, obviously, the side that you didn't cut. I'm not 100% sure of the Cricut measurement, if it was a 1/2 inch. Julie, if you did the Cricut, if you can confirm, it doesn't matter. You know, this really doesn't matter too much. You don't want it to be too bad, but okay. So what we want to do now is we're going to stick this inside. Okay. And make sure that it fits. And you want it to be centered from top to bottom. Okay. You want it to be centered from top to bottom. And you want this to be up against that line, but not over it. Okay, and this is hard to think about, but this is going to catch this, and you're going to glue this down, and it's going to be glued this way. Okay, so when it's folded, you see how I have it scored and folded this way? Because once we're going to glue it this way, and it's going to pull it back over here. I do recommend that you use liquid glass, or you can use score tape. I didn't try score tape. Maybe I'll try it on the other side. I did try and use just adhesive runner, and it's not strong enough to hold on to it, you know, through the repeated openings and closings. So I'm going to use liquid glass. And again, make sure this is centered. And then I'm just going to put a line going down. Make sure. This is a new bottle. If you remember last week, I I almost ran out. Okay, so I'm going to put liquid glass there, or put your score tape, and then I'm going to close it. And then you want it to close and hold it for a few. Although you want to make sure it doesn't, okay, that's good. You want to make sure it doesn't glue to your pattern paper. So I'm going to glue and hold it for a few minutes. So while that's drying, let's see. I'm going to check on the comments here. How's everybody doing following along? Julie, are you able to follow along so far? Okay, let's see. Now once it's enough, you can kind of let it dry a little bit more once it's opened. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so here's my piece. I'm going to stick it in. And when you stick it in, you need to make sure that these flanges are either both above the flanges from the other side or both below. It doesn't really matter, but don't have one up and one down. And that might make more sense once you stick it in and see. Okay, so I'm going to try and do it so you can see. Okay, so now look, I did exactly what I said not to do. You see how this one is on top of that paper, but this one seems to be underneath the paper. So make sure, just fiddle with it a little bit. Okay, there, that one's on. Is that one above? Okay, now they're both above. If you can see, they're both above. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fold it. I should have. I wanted to make sure it was folded there. I should have taken it out. I really love this green, this avocado green. Now I'm sitting here looking at it. I was debating about whether I should use this green or not, but I really like it. Okay, now that it's like that, again, you want to make sure it's centered, okay? And you want it to be right even with these, and then right up against the edge, but not over it, okay? So that it can fold down. And then just put the line of liquid glass down. There we go. Not a lot, because liquid glass can smush everywhere. Okay, now I'm going to close it and hold it for a few minutes. Not a few minutes, a few seconds. You're having trouble with the shutter? What's your trouble? Like getting it up in both of them on above or both below? It is a little bit easier if you use foam tape that's a little bit thicker. I used the thin 3D foam tape because this was all that I had left. I have ordered more, but I ordered both. I think both the thick and the thin. If you use a little bit thicker foam tape, it's a little bit easier to get in and out. Vicky, did you see that animal or that zoo page that I tagged you in? I thought about you because I know you go to the zoo sometimes on Sunday afternoons. I thought you could do some of your pictures with that. Okay, I'm going to pull this over. Okay, see how that... Okay, perfect. And now you can see how the shutter works. I'm not going to do it too much until that's, pretty much dried. Oh, D got it? Okay. Well, let me know. Ask me a question if you have any question about it. Okay, now is when I'm going to stamp my sentiment. And I waited until this so I could see how far these are. If you have the circle, right, it's going to be maybe a little bit, you might have a little bit more room than my square. So I'm gonna do the Wild About You, stamp, which is part of the animated Safari Animals. And that's mainly because I don't have the Safari Animal stamp set, so there may be a sentiment that you could use from that. Vicki, you have it. Do you know if there's a sentiment? Oh, Julie, you got it. Good. Oh, phew. Okay, I'm going to use espresso ink, and that's because espresso is one of the colors in the Sweet Safari. It's this brown color here, so I'm gonna use that. But you can use black or whatever color that you want to. Okay, this should be inked up, and then I'm just going to put it right here in the middle. And I hate doing this live because I'm hoping my stamping turns out. Perfect. Woohoo! And now clean it off with my stamp chamois. Wild About You. I love that. I love this set. If you know me, you know I love my animated stamps. I love my animated stamps. I have a video on YouTube about how to do the animated stamps, so if you want to learn more about the animated stamps, look for these on YouTube. Okay, now all we have to do is decorate it. What I did here is I put this stork, right? This is a baby set, so here's a little stork and this little lion, a little lion, and then a palm tree. There's a whole cute set of these. I would like to give a shout out to Michelle for sending these to me in this cute little envelope. She stamped these for me because I do not have the set. So she stamped them. I colored them, but she stamped them. I used these tri-blend markers for the branches and the palm trees. I used earth brown blend. And you can see I don't know if you can tell, but I used the light and the medium colors for here. These are tri-blend markers, so they have 3 colors. There's the light marker, so I used this, and then I used this, the medium one, but then there's also the dark. I didn't use the dark, but there is the dark. That's why they're called tri-blends. And then for the leaves, I used the dull green blend, and I used all 3 colors. So I started with the light, I made the lines with the medium, and then I kind of colored in the top there with the dark. I made the sloth. The sloth, I used all 3 colors, all 3 of the grays. I don't know if you can kind of tell. I tried to make it look a little bit hairy. I put some little lines there. And that is the, let's see, what is this called? Oh, wait. Brown gray blend. And I used, the brown gray blend. I used all those. And then I made their faces and the stork's mouth with the fair skin blend. And on the stork's mouth, I used the dark one. And on the sloth's face, I used the medium. Okay, I did pop these up on top. So let's just put these on here. I'm going to use my 1/4 inch foam tape for that. Just put a few pieces here. Put a piece here. And when you put these on, just FYI, when you put it on, you want to make sure that you glue it to this yellow or plaid and not the green. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this right here so that I know where I want it to go. So you see how I put it on there, not on this. Because if you glue it on that, it will get you know, carried over with it. But I will stick a couple here along the edges, the bottom. Okay, so let's take this off. Your sound went out. I've been trying to figure out a way to use my microphone with my phone as the video. I can't figure out how to do that yet. So I'm just using the microphone on my phone, so I try and keep my mouth pretty close to the phone. Michelle did stamp this one on this, I think that's Sundance, on the Sundance paper. Let me make sure that it's, okay, I'm going to put it kind of in the mid part of his head, so it's only on the, right, you only want it to be on the outside there. You don't want it to interfere with the shutter. And then I'll put a piece here. Okay, how's everybody doing? What kind of designs are you doing? I know Julie was going to pick her stamps later, so what design did you pick? Okay, let's put something on his beak. And again, you want to make sure that you are only on the outside, or on the pattern part. I'll put a piece right here. And I'm going to put one on his head too. Okay, so let's put the stork down. And then after this, all we have to do is the outside belly band, which is very easy. Okay, I'm going to stick him right here. Now he's a stork, so he should be carrying something. So I'm going to use these are the puffy stickers from the Sweet Safari collection. Let's find something for him. I think I'm going to put this XO because he's carrying love or something. Okay, and you can put something down here. If you want to. I'm going to leave it like that. Okay, let's do the belly band. So you want something to, uh-oh. My guy's getting stuck. What's he getting stuck on? Oh, he's getting stuck on my, I have to move this. He's getting stuck on there. I don't know what I did between now and the previously. There we go. There we go. Okay. Okay, now let's make the belly band. So the belly band is the piece that goes around, right? So on this one, it just goes like this. And it's to hold it closed. It also gives the outside a little bit of design. You can, if you want, stamp on this or make something on the outside. But the belly band, you want to cut 9.5 inches long, okay? You can use a zip strip. I'm actually going to use a strip of this paper because I like the coordination of the plaid with the circles or the dots. So here's how you do this: is you want to take this and kind of wrap it around how you want it. And so you want it to be tight enough that it holds it closed, but you don't want it to be too tight where you can't get it over, right? You can't get it over the top. So I'm going to do it like this, and then I'm going to put a piece of liquid glass. And I did do it right on top of the card. If you do that, make sure you don't get glue on the front of your card. Okay? So kind of put it like this, and then I slid it off. Okay? And then just kind of hold it until it dries. And you want the centerpiece to meet in the center so that it's covered up by something. Okay? So I'm going to put him on here, and I'm going to use the leaf to cover the seam, okay? So basically I'm only going to put some tape on this part at the very top. The bottom part is free, kind of free floating. So again, I'm going to stick this so that it covers the seam. Okay? And then you just put it on. And I might check it before you see. I think that's a little bit tight, so I'm just gonna open it up a little bit. There we go. There you go. So there's your shutter card. Okay. While that one's drying, I'll show you this one. Isn't he cute? Aren't these cute? And really, that was not that hard. And it's especially easy if you could just have the pieces cut. You don't have to do any math or anything. But I want to, again, show you the other sample that I made in case you didn't want to do the Sweet Safari. And I just love this stamp set, and I haven't talked about it yet. This stamp set is in the new catalog, or is in the January-February catalog. It's this one. It's called Whole Lotta Love, Whole Latte Love. It's Z3913. And it's got this cute coffee cup, a teacup. All I need is a little bit of coffee and a whole lot of glitter. And so I put that on the front, and I used a base. I just used this. This is called the Stitch Fancy Bracket. I used the big one, and then I stamped that. All I need is a little bit of coffee and a whole lot of glitter. I stamped that on here in espresso, which I think is appropriate. But I did glitter up the word glitter. And I just used the stickles. This is like the name isn't on here, so I don't know exactly what the name is, but it's just the one that's like clear with glitter. And then I put the teacup, and it has a, I don't know if you can see, it's got the teacup, but then it has the little stamp that you can stamp on the inside, so like it's a cappuccino or something. So I used I think toffee there, and then the hearts. And on the inside, I did You Mocha Me Smile. And then Thanks a Latte, that's on here. And I cut this out with a flat, a flag cut, and then put the card on the inside. And I did use a couple of the embellishments from the Sweet Safari. So this paper is Sweet Safari paper, right? But I didn't do the Sweet Safari animals. So I thought you might not want to do the animals, but this paper can be used for a lot of different things. So I really love this set, so I wanted to make a sample with this set too. Okay, so that is all for class today. Michelle is having trouble with her comments. Okay. She can watch it on the replay because I know she was cutting it out because she sent me a couple questions about how to cut and which piece was what. I do have the cutting diagrams. I think I posted that. Let me know if you have any questions before we head out. I'm going to pop a link to the Sweet Safari collection. And then I just popped a link to this latte collection. And that's the stitch squares in case you have it. But if you, again, you can use circles. You can use a circle cutter. You can use whatever you need to. And I think I posted it before, but I'll post again to the cutting directions so that you have all of the, all of the cutting guides here. Next week is a fun week, everybody. What you've been waiting for. I'm going to do a catalog walkthrough of the new catalog. Sneak peek there. There's so much good stuff, and I've already have some samples made for you to see. So join me next week while we do a walkthrough of the brand new March, April catalog. See what all the new stuff is. Okay. Don't forget about those specials that are going to end this week. And this week on my group in the Crafty Chemist Designs, I will focus on telling you more about the specials that are ending so that you don't miss out. Okay? If there's no other questions, I'm going to head out. Thanks for crafting along with me. If you made some shutter cards, post pictures of what you did. I'm interested to see what you made. Okay, and so I will see you next week. Thanks for joining me. Bye.